Hi everyone, Velvet here, and I have some stories for you today. But before we get started, can you please do me a huge favor and like, comment, and subscribe? It'll help the channel out and it'll get you more videos like this. Let's get to it. And our first one comes from Away Refute 5123. Am I the beehole for hiding my large net worth from my boyfriend of 8 years while he paid for everything? Throwaway account. I, a 34-year-old female, recently engaged to my boyfriend, 37-year-old male of 8 years. We've been living together for quite some time, yet we've always kept our finances mostly entirely separate. When it came to discussing being married, we had the idea of the prenup come up. It was then that I came clean about my financial status. My net worth is just barely 7 figures, yet he's been the one supporting the household. Background: we met months after I returned to my hometown. My father had unexpectedly left the earth, and I'd left a lucrative engineering career, 6 figures, that had just started fresh out of college. Before that career hit, I had been raised to be frugal as hell, and I suffered like crazy through college. No home internet, no phone, no car, working multiple part-time jobs while being a full-time student, etc., etc. When money finally started coming in, my lifestyle didn't change that much. Being able to afford a dozen more food options and having a $500 car felt like moving up in the world. So when we met, I had a 97 car, a crappy one-bedroom apartment, never went out to eat, including fast food, and was working minimum wage jobs. I had got the job for the sake of insurance, and I had always wanted something extremely flexible in lieu of my father's ceasing to be here. So I imagine I came across as someone living paycheck to paycheck when I really had quite a large chunk of change in the bank. As our relationship progressed, we found we had very different styles of saving. He liked going out, and I disputed this. We always split the bill down the middle, and I was getting cranky. These outings were his suggestions, and my date ideals were free/cheap. He said he'd pay for both of us. Move forward, and we moved in together, and I again disputed. We didn't need to rent a large house. It was ultimately decided to get his choice, and I'd pay the smaller portion. Then my mother left the earth. The savings of my frugal parents went to me. My boyfriend knew I didn't like spending money, and he knew I wasn't in debt, but he still thought his worth was higher, and he was still paying for most of the expenses. To clarify, he worked up to a 6-figure job, and I feel he should spend his income as he wants. He spends it at will, retains little savings, but he's stayed debt-free. Fast forward, we are engaged, and I tell him how much money I have. He's initially excited at the prospect of being able to buy all these things. I'm scared. My finances will suddenly become our finances, and his spending ideals are not what I want. We discussed this, and now he's mad that he's been mostly supporting me for so long, unnecessarily. I point out that the lifestyle he chose, and he absolutely refused my suggestions. Still, I benefited. I say we can use my savings to buy a house, to have solid funds for the future children, for earlier retirement, etc., etc. He's growing more resentful. My net worth was a lie of omission. I never told him I couldn't afford things. Am I the beehole for keeping this hidden for so long? Yes, OP. Yes, you are the beehole. You guys are supposed to be in a relationship. Aren't you guys supposed to love each other? Why aren't you trying to spend some money on him? Now, I'll say you're not, and a lie by omission is still a lie, OP. You knew what you were doing was wrong. But, and I get it, if you guys, first met, yeah, don't tell people how much you make when you first met, but you guys are getting married. I think you'd come to the point where, hey, I have a nice chunk of change. Now, I'm going to cut you some slack and say that I don't think you guys should be together. Your spending habits and your finances do not sync up the way you guys are. Because I agree with you. I would worry me too if I was getting married to someone. They're like, cool, now I have your money to spend on stuff that I want. Because I'm a frugal person too. Not as frugal as you, though. But I took a look in the comments. This one comes from A Beer and a Book. He says, "You're the beehole. This doesn't sound much like a partnership, and differing views on how to handle expenses can be a major test for serious relationships." Yeah, I agree. Also, consider this. OP knew exactly what their parents' lifestyle and income and means were throughout most of that relationship. Their partner of 8 years just found out OP was hiding the same information from them, while basically using them for their money, when they completely did not have to. Potentially a deal breaker for many. Personally, that'd be a deal breaker for me. So OP, yeah, you're the beehole. And our next one comes from TH Way Birthday Trad. Am I the beehole refusing to share my birthday with my stepmother? My stepmother's birthday is the day after mine. Since my father started dating her about 10 years ago, I've been expected to share almost every celebration we make for my birthday with her. I was fine with it because I was in my early 20s and had other people to celebrate with, namely my mom and my friends, but it still bothered me that my dad and I couldn't have our own thing. I'm married with 2 kids, an 8-year-old male and a 3-year-old female, and we have a little tradition. Because I was born in the second half of June, hey, me too, nice. There's usually a Pixar movie playing in the theaters. Oh, Pixar's really gone downhill, but back to it. Every year on my birthday, we go to the movies and watch it, and then have dinner together. We've been doing this since my son was 3. Though we've watched the movies at home in 2020 and 2021. This year we're watching Inside Out 2. This will be my daughter's first time joining us. She just started sitting through movies. We are all very excited. I'd never told my father or stepmother about this tradition. Last week, while we were visiting, my kids told him that we'd be going to the movies for my birthday, and ended up explaining everything. The next day, my father and stepmother called me to tell me they were paying for the whole family, me, kids, husband, and the both of them, to go to the movies and have dinner, just like I'd planned. It was obvious they intended to celebrate my stepmother's birthday at the same time. They referred to it as our birthdays and suggested her favorite place for dinner. I told them that while I understood it was close to her birthday as well, this is a tradition only intended for me and my family to celebrate, and I prefer to enjoy it with my children and husband. As such, I prefer to pay myself and would appreciate it if they didn't join us. They are both very upset. My father called me entitled for refusing to celebrate my stepmother's birthday as well as mine. I assume they're doing something for her birthday and you go over there and celebrate, so I don't know why he's saying that. Ugh. And said I'm sending a terrible message to my kids by refusing to share. I feel like I'm too old to be acting like this over my birthday, but I don't want to share this tradition with her. Am I the beehole? Heck no, you're not the beehole. This is your tradition with your immediate family, your spouse, and your children. She doesn't need to tag along for everything. She's a grown woman. So is your father. He's a grown man. They need to understand that, let you do your own thing. She doesn't have to be in every tradition. Sounds like she's a narcissist and just can't let you have your day. And yeah, that would annoy me too if some random person, well, not random, but you know what I mean, just invited themselves to my day and tried to ruin it. Because I have my tradition for my birthday. On the 18th of June, I like my favorite sushi roll, a glass Coke, and a slice of chocolate cake. That's it. I don't want anybody bugging me with that. You know what I mean? It's my little slice of heaven for making it another year. So, P, no, you are not the beehole. Please enjoy your tradition, and those two need to learn how to grow up. They're adults. You don't have to do everything with everyone. I'm not over there celebrating with my brother and his wife while they do stuff for her birthday or the other person's birthday. You know what I mean? You don't have to be with the family 24/7. Not the beehole. And our final one comes from Bulky 4619. Am I the beehole for not giving my brother money from an emergency fund set up for him? I, a 36-year-old female, set up 3 saving accounts in my name that I put money into for my 3 brothers. I started doing this shortly after finding out at 18 my parents set up a similar emergency accounts only for my sister and me in case of divorce or needed to make a hasty exit from a relationship, and had been putting the money into it themselves our entire lives. They did not have accounts set up for my brothers, and when asked, they said they wouldn't need the help if they got divorced or didn't have to worry about a use of spouses. Yes, you freaking do if you're a guy. Absolutely. It's even worse for a guy because if we defend ourselves, we might get screwed. I think she might have to come at me with like a knife or something for me to be maybe okay in that situation. Wow, your parents are. Whew. Alright, back to it. I thought that was pretty unfair. Yeah, I agree with you, OP. Especially considering my dad's own brother had to sleep in his car and couch surf for months after his divorce, and other male family members that had it just as rough as some of my aunts. Wow, he has examples and there's still that like that. Wow. Between bonuses, savings, and some very lucky casino trips and scratch-offs, each account has about 14K in it. Unfortunately, 5 months ago, my brother, Justin, and his wife filed for divorce. I gave him his money shortly after being told. Wednesday, we had dinner at our parents', and Justin was telling all of us about an apartment he had found and has enough for room for him and his kids. My older brother, Andy, asked how he could afford it, and Justin told him how much I gave him, and Andy and his wife gave me some serious stink eye, of course the wife. After the dinner, Andy called and asked why I didn't pay for the emergency expense they had a few years ago. They needed 3K for vet expenses, and I gave them $1,500 from my own money. He then asked me to give him all the funds I had set aside for him, and I told him no. That's for a very specific reason, for the worst case scenario. Best case scenario, either he or any future kids will get a nice chunk of change, whether it's time to shed my immortal coil. Now Andy and his wife are upset, not talking to me, and telling her family I'm expecting them to divorce. Am I being the beehole for not giving him the money? You are absolutely not the beehole, OP. First things first, that's not his money. That's your money that you put in another account. You will set it aside to help him, but it is not his money. Now, that money is only to be used for one specific situation. Like you said, a divorce, the worst case scenario, because yes, usually the guy gets screwed in the divorce and has to pay a ton of money, lose the home, lose the car, lose the kids, all of that, okay? So that you are a bloody saint. You are a fantastic sister for looking out for your brothers and having their backs when your parents failed to do so. So, he is not entitled to that money. And you even helped him with the vet bill. It sounds like you covered a nice chunk of it. And yeah, that's an emergency, but that's not what that's for. Sounds like they're just greedy and want to spend that money because they think they're entitled to it. OP, if I was you, I'd tell them they need to watch themselves because you have two more brothers, and I'm pretty sure the one that got divorced could use half of 14K to help him out even more, and I'm pretty sure the other one could use, the other half just building up just for him just in case stuff goes down. So if I were you, I would tell him, like you said, no, and to watch himself because the other two brothers can get the money you set aside for him real easily. But OP, you are not the beehole. You are a saint and a bloody angel for having your brothers back. Thank you for making it to the end of the video with me. And can you please do what I said in the beginning? And like, comment, and subscribe. It really and truly does help the channel out. It helps it grow, and it helps you get more videos like this. Velvet out.